We do need to raise the debt ceiling to avoid economic calamity.
The US government has hit its debt ceiling of $31.4 trillion, causing a tense standoff. Congress has to vote to raise the debt ceiling. Republicans, who control the House of Representatives, are using this power as a bargaining chip to rewrite the budget.
Speaker McCarthy offered a very different way forward. He's proposed deep cuts that I believe are going to hurt American families.
I would hope that he'd be willing to negotiate for the next 2 weeks so we could actually solve this problem and not take America on the brink.
Neither side wants to back down, but if they don't, catastrophe looms.
Not lifting the debt ceiling would be a kamikaze act that would threaten the health and viability of the American economy with disastrous spillover effects for the global economy.
So what is the debt ceiling? And why does reaching it mean possible economic disaster?
The debt ceiling, which is really uniquely an American thing, refers to the total amount of money that the government, the federal government, is allowed to borrow. It's a political creation. Inevitably, government debt goes up over time. The size of the economy is getting bigger. The government is regularly running deficits. So you would expect that debt would go up over time. But because you have this prescribed debt ceiling, from time to time, the government's borrowing hits that limit. When that happens, the thing that has to occur is that the debt ceiling has to be raised. The point is that America has incurred all of these debts because of all of its ongoing obligations, whether to paying government salaries or to paying retired pensioners their Social Security payments, to paying for health insurance, to paying for ongoing government programs. If they don't increase the debt ceiling, the government will not be able to make those spending obligations. It would only be a matter of time before the government would very likely default on its debts. That would send shock waves through global markets. It would fundamentally undermine the position of the dollar. Critics of the debt ceiling have proposed workarounds. There's two that you mainly hear about. One is the idea that the Treasury should mint an absolutely massive coin, not massive in terms of size, but massive in terms of value, perhaps $1 trillion platinum coin, deposit that at the Federal Reserve, and then use that to fund government operations. The other workaround that you'll hear about sometimes is using the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which states that US government debts shall not be questioned. So the argument is that the White House can cite that amendment. Well, the most basic solution to the debt ceiling is for Congress to agree that the debt ceiling is damaging, is harmful, and just basically agree to suspend it in perpetuity. That would be the simplest solution, but politically it's just not tenable because the party that's not in power does enjoy the leverage that the debt ceiling confers upon them.
Will not even accept cash anymore.
Yeah, they are starting to set up reverse ATMs that quickly turns cash into a prepaid debit card to be used on the fly. And Dre Clark explains from New York City. Dre, I've never heard of this. Mitch has never heard of this. What's it about?
Yeah, you know, I never heard of it either until I read about it last night. It's relatively new, but it's slowly but surely catching on. You know, cash is really still king, but reverse ATMs are definitely the way of the future as more businesses look for ways to go cashless. Here at Madison Square Garden in Midtown Manhattan, they already have machines inside the arena that can actually convert your cash into a debit card here. Now, here you can see exactly how it works. You load money into a kiosk like you see here, and within seconds, you can get a receipt confirming your conversion and a prepaid active card. Many of the prepaid cards are either MasterCard or Visa, and you can use them anywhere where those cards are accepted. Some kiosks may actually charge you a $5 fee for the card. Meanwhile, amusement parks, fast food restaurants, and many professional sports venues are already using the cash-to-card kiosk, and you'll start seeing more of them in airports and on college campuses. Business owners say they like the kiosk because it helps prevent theft and robberies, and it stops the spread of germs that can really be found on a lot of money that's downright dirty. Now, many people started going cashless during the pandemic because they did not want to touch money and coins, fearing they could contract the virus. Meanwhile, cities across the country like San Francisco, D.C., Philly, and New York, they actually have bans on cashless businesses. So business owners, by law, cannot refuse to accept any cash from a customer. Also, get this, the FDIC says up to 5% of U.S. households, or 6 million Americans, are considered unbanked. That means they don't have either a checking or savings account. They prefer to deal in strictly cash. So yeah, guys, it's relatively new, but here in New York City and other places around the country, this is the way of the future. To the back.
And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If ye love me, keep my commandments.